Hey everyone. I just got some new numbers out of New Brunswick, sent in by one of our Blue Sky community members, and it paints a pretty clear picture on what's happening at their border. July 2025 was the steepest drop yet, with over 75,000 fewer cars heading south compared to last year. And it's not just a 1-month blip. This pattern has been steady for the last few months. And what's even more telling is how lopsided things are. Canadians heading south, always over 100,000 last year. Americans coming north, not even coming close to that mark. That says a lot about how one-sided this relationship has been for years, at least in my opinion. Today, I got a fresh report out of Seattle and California, plus 2 articles sent by our community members that I wanted you to hear about. The backdrop you're seeing today is a photo from my mom when they took a trip to Britannia Mines in BC, just south of Squamish. If you watched The Last of Us, you might recognize it. All right, let's go into the first article. Now, this first article came from one of our Blue Sky community members, and it's about something that happened less than 3 weeks ago, July 24th. A single mom from Washington State drove up to Vancouver's YVR airport to drop off her 2 kids. They were flying back to New Zealand to visit their grandparents. Pretty normal, right? But on the way back home, she was stopped at the Peace Arch border crossing and sent all the way to an ICE detention camp in South Texas. The reason? ICE says there was quote-unquote incorrect information about their visas. Now, this article doesn't go into too much detail about exactly what the claim was, but the part that really hits me is her 6-year-old son is also in the detention camp with her. I wanted to share this with you because it's a reminder that these kind of things are still happening. And for me, Peace Arch is my closest border crossing, so this one feels a bit personal. I'm not going to break down every paragraph here, but if you want to read the full story, I put a link in the description. Next article, and I'll also link it in the description as well, is an update from the BC-Washington border. BC now has 6 straight months of declining crossings to the US compared to last year. I wanted to show this as a reminder that the boycott against the US is still holding strong. Now, I know some of you have shared updates from the Ottawa airport, showing an increase in flights to the US. But here's my rationale. I don't use these numbers as my main measure of how things are going. I'm definitely not relying on US numbers either. My benchmark has always been how much and how loudly US tourism officials, businesses, and politicians are complaining and pleading for us to come back. When that whining dies down, that's when I'll know things are cooling off. Summer is almost over now, and I can't wait to see what happens once the Canadian snowboard season is supposed to kick in. Now, these next 2 reports from Seattle and California, they don't directly affect us here in Canada, but they give us a pretty clear pulse on what's actually happening south of the border. And what they show really highlights the domino effect from these ridiculous tariffs and immigration policies that are set. I gotta say, I'm pretty glad I'm on the north side of the border. Now, before we get into the reports, just a public service announcement. Please double check the channel name when you're clicking on my videos, and make sure it's actually really my channel. All right, let's get into it.
What happens when an entire city essentially comes to a standstill because many of its residents are afraid to be outside? CBS's Adam Yamaguchi takes us to a community in Los Angeles County that's struggling to survive as deportation raids increase.
Huntington Park, California, a working-class community of over 50,000 people, now feels it has a bullseye on its back because of ramped-up ICE raids. It's nearly 96% Latino, and as many as 45% of its residents are undocumented.
So how has the community here responded to the ongoing raids?
They're scared.
Jonathan Sanabria sits on the city council. He also grew up here.
We are a target for them because we know that they are stereotyping and they're racially profiling us.
Racial profiling and stereotyping don't stop if you have a different passport. It doesn't matter if you're from Canada, Mexico, Europe, or anywhere else. If you fit the profile, you're a target. In the US, that means you could be stopped, questioned, forced to prove you're innocent because you're already treated as guilty. If you're a person of color visiting the US, you may feel like you need to carry your passport everywhere just to prove you're not an illegal immigrant. That's the reality. And there are also countless cases of ICE detaining US citizens. They're profiled, arrested, and only released after they can show a US passport or prove they're American. Is this really something you want to be worrying about when you're on vacation at Disneyland, walking through Times Square, or down at the San Francisco Pier?
And they're targeting folks that look like me.
Sanabria took us along Pacific Boulevard, Huntington Park's main commercial thoroughfare. The once vibrant city center has now become eerily quiet. Jose Lomelli is a longtime resident.
I remember Pacific Boulevard was always packed, but since the raids have been going on, it's a ghost town. I don't even know how these places are surviving.
The councilman showed us how business owners are trying to lure customers back into these stores.
So here's a sign. There's people inside conducting business, but they now have their doors locked. They're saying, hey, knock so we can open the door, provide the services for you.
ICE agents would need a warrant to enter.
We see stores that are open, but they remain with the gates locked. So this is another way of the stores protecting themselves and their customers from unwanted interactions with ICE.
Now, hearing this, it just leaves me shocked. The US is supposed to be the land of the free. It's literally in their anthem. I know this because I used to sing it every time I went to a Canucks game, back when there was still some sort of mutual respect between the two countries. But these actions feel more like something out of a movie, where thugs roam the street and everyone's in hiding behind closed doors. Only this isn't a movie. It's what's happening right now in communities across LA and across the US.
A woman emerged from behind the gates. She runs this bridal shop.
How is business?
¿Cómo ha estado el negocio estos días?
Muy mal.
Very bad.
Very bad.
Because the reality is that folks are scared of coming in, that folks are scared of being taken.
Uno tiene que de alguna manera proteger a nuestros clientes también.
So some folks that are coming, that the business owner is doing what they can to protect them.
What is the overall impact on the economy here?
It's very obvious that our sales tax numbers are going to be a lot lower than they were, which means it's going to be less money to provide services for our community.
The domino effect. More people staying home or hiding from ICE means less money being spent. Less money being spent means less revenue for businesses and less tax collected. Less tax collected means fewer programs and less support from the city. And that's just one chain of dominoes. It doesn't even touch the tourism boycott, or the US product boycott, or the tariffs. There are dozens of different domino lines falling at the same time right now. My point is, we're starting to see the consequences. And with Donald Trump now taking over the federal police in Washington, I'm just waiting to see what else he decides to take over, or where else he decides to send the National Guard.
According to the latest CBS News poll, fewer people overall approve of the Trump administration's deportation program compared to earlier this year. But approval among Republicans continues to remain high. Many of them say immigrants who've entered the country illegally should be deported. Sanabria disagrees.
When we look at a lot of different sectors of our economy, the reason we are able to keep it at a lower rate is because of undocumented workers. I think the community is seeing that we are behind them, and that's making them feel safer.
A community trying to overcome the fear.
When it comes to undocumented migrants, every country deals with this, even Canada. I'm not an expert in how to fix it, so I'm not even going to pretend I have the answer. But here's the domino effect. Some of these undocumented migrants were contributing to the US economy, and there's proof. Many farmers were hiring them. Now, these workers are in hiding, and the farmers are pleading for help. And the irony of this is that some of the farm owners voted for Trump. So in a way, you just sabotage your own business. But that's not even my main point here. This video is about profiling. For some, you might not think it's a problem you'll face. But even if you have the preferred skin color of the Trump administration, that doesn't guarantee you won't get detained. It's unfortunate, but it's also the reality of 2025. Now, this next video comes out of Seattle, and it shows the economic damage hitting the city and the rest of the US. So let's take a look over the fence and see what's really going on.
Right, Jessica. We're talking about the Funko Pop, which is made locally here in Western Washington. Many of you might have these collectibles sitting on your shelves at home. We're also seeing a significant drop in imports for auto parts and cars, also electronics, clothing, and home furnishings. With this notable drop, the question is, what's next for consumers? Port of Seattle and Port of Tacoma want to see a steady stream of ships coming in and out. But right now, our ports have slowed.
Ports have slowed down thanks to Trump's magical tariffs on the US products. They make things more expensive for businesses, and those costs get passed straight to the consumer. That's not even the worst part. The real pain is how often Trump changes his mind, forcing businesses to play constant tariff rate ping pong. Speaking of those costs being passed down, another Blue Sky viewer tagged me in a post showing me the same product on Amazon, same store, both sides of the border. In the US, it's $549.99. In Canada, it's $430, and both are in US dollars. Does that sound like winning to you? From what I read, the real impact of these tariffs are going to hit within the next few months. And I gotta say, I'm very glad I'm in Canada.
That has created a kind of roller coaster effect where importers are trying to rush to beat the next round of tariffs or the next round of uncertainty. And as a result, it's created this kind of up and down flow at the ports, which quite honestly, is just about the worst operations environment for us.
The Northwest Seaport Alliance says container traffic is down about 30% year over year, largely due to the ongoing trade war and tariffs. This is trickling down to business owners.
We've had a couple of trucking companies that have had to close down as a result of the lack of business. They operate on very tight margins. It's a very competitive business. And unfortunately, there's just not enough work to go around. We've also seen importers and exporters who've had to lay off a third of staff. There's just not enough to go around.
It's a scary time for a lot of people in the US, especially for those who didn't vote for this. Jobs are being cut or lost entirely, and trucking companies are shutting down from the lack of business. All part of the domino effect, caused by one guy with the power to fire a nuke. It's especially sad what's happening to the trucking and port industry. As I'm editing this video, our friend Josh, over at the Enemy From Within channel, just posted a video updating on the trucking industry. And since he's a trucker himself, this is firsthand experience and facts of what is really happening. He says he's had 3 container loads cancel on him, and other truckers are not getting paid, and none of this is normal. It's all happened because of the ridiculous tariffs pushed by the commander-in-chief. Go check out Josh's video for yourself. Tell him I sent you. And hear directly from someone who's living it day by day. I'll leave a direct link to his video in the comments, but here's a quick preview of his video.
What I'm telling you is an industry-wide fucking purge is happening right now. I watch a couple guys here on YouTube that are actual owner-operators, own their trucks, and they're going, where the fuck is the money? Where's the money? And the money's not coming. The money's not coming because the supply chain is so goddamn broken now that it is going to take actual fucking years to correct this, if we even correct it. I don't know if we will, because it's not the supply chain anymore. It's the relationships with other countries that are absolutely fucking destroyed. Got a lot of Canadians that watch me. Thank you. I appreciate that you're here. And they are rightfully pissed off at America right now. The 51st state rhetoric, the fucking tariffs on everything, all the bullshit that Donald Trump has tried to do to Canada it's not a supply chain issue. It's a lot of people saying, well, fuck you and the horse you rode in on, motherfucker. If that's the way you're going to treat us, we can get our goods from other places.
For those of you who are new here, Josh has become a good friend and a strong ally to this channel. He understands things from a Canadian perspective, and you can see that in the way he covers these issues. After you're done watching this video, I highly recommend you go check out his. I'll leave the link to his video in the description. I just hope our American trucker friend Josh, aka the Enemy From Within, keeps a full schedule and doesn't get hit by the lack of containers coming in. We are all rooting for you, man. But this goes back to what I've said before about tariffs and ping pong. The more uncertainty there is, the harder it is for businesses to figure out what their pricing is. And one thing's for sure, when prices go up, they'll almost never come back down as fast as they went up.
Seattle Port Commissioner Ryan Calkins says they're seeing a drop in the number of products being moved off cargo ships when they arrive.
So that is passed on to consumers. It means that all of those goods now have a 20% increase in cost at the border. And that's getting passed on through the wholesaler to the retailer and eventually to us. And I think we're all going to feel that in our pocketbooks over the coming months.
An example of this can be seen in these popular collectible toys called Funko Pop, based in Everett. The latest earnings report from the company shows that they are reporting a $41 million loss and 22% sales drop, blaming U.S. tariffs for disrupted shipments and higher costs. The company is shifting production away from China and also looking to cut costs. Overall, new research from the Yale Budget Lab estimates tariffs will cost a typical household as much as $2,400 this year.
$2,400 this year. That's what a typical household is going to be paying for absolutely no reason. Sometimes I have to step back from all the research, reporting, and even from this channel just to take it all in. 2025 has been complete chaos, not just for the US, but globally. Many of us are outside the US, safe in our own countries and building partnerships and alliances together. But I do feel for those in the US who didn't vote for this, including many of you in my own community. I hope the midterms next year will be a turning point for this chaos. But the way things are going, I'm just hoping for fair results. To the US citizens watching this right now, I do stand with you, and I truly hope your country can get back on its feet somehow. In the meantime, we're going to continue watching from the outside. If you found this video helpful, hit the like and subscribe to get this message out to more people, and also share it with your friends too. And if you're still here and you want to see more of my content, check out the videos that are showing up on your screen right now. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you in the next one.